Let me take you back in time to the 2022 NBA draft. The New York Knicks are still the laughingstock of the NBA, but after coming off of a 37-win season and kind of trying to come out of that dark hole that they'd been in for quite some time, they were looking good, and they had the 11th overall pick to build off of it. Paulo Banchero goes number 1 overall, goes on to win Rookie of the Year. Chet Holmgren goes number 2 overall, and the Knicks, slated to pick at number 11, end up trading with the Thunder and getting 3 future firsts. They also would pick up a future first from the Bucks that night in the Kemba Walker ordeal. Now, why is that important? Because they just mortgaged their future for this man right here, Mikal Bridges. We had a Woj bomb at like 11 o'clock at night, and they're out here building teams based off the power of friendship. The Nova Knicks are back together, but they were able to give up so many first-round picks because they have a good quantity of those first-round picks that they are able to now kind of mortgage their future a little bit, build one of the best wing duos in the NBA, capable of stopping Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. They're not guaranteed, but it is a duo that is capable of stopping them in Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and they can both give you 20 a night. Now, the question now becomes, how does Julius Randle fit into all this? But overall, you can really hide Jalen Brunson on defense now with Mikal Bridges, with OG Anunoby, who just extended, and the other Nova boys. Will they bring back Hartenstein, or will Mitchell Robinson be the center next year? I think Hartenstein is probably gone. He's been linked to the Thunder, and the Thunder can obviously offer more money than the Knicks, who are almost hard capped at that second apron unless they add on to the Bridges trade. Hartenstein averaged 8 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, and 2.5 assists in 25 minutes per game, which might not seem crazy, but he was a really, really serviceable big. He was good in drop coverage, protecting the rim there. He played in 75 games and then started 49 once Robinson got hurt, and played very, very well in those starting minutes and played well into the playoffs. Per 36, he averaged 11 points per game, 12 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks. So more than a serviceable center, and OKC is going to go out there and try to outbid the New York Knicks. They know they can't pay up. They're going to try and throw $80 million at him and say, hey, come on down to OKC. We got a nice spot in the lineup for you. New York, the most they can offer is 72, so we'll see what happens. But regardless of Hartenstein, the Knicks have the best defensive wing duo in the NBA now, with OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, both capable of giving people the business on the defensive end of the ball. OG last year, you see the numbers, almost 50-40 when it comes to field goal percentage, three-point percentage. The points were down a little bit, but it was a very small sample size with the Knicks. 1.7 block or steals and a block, and then he goes out and signs that 5-year, $213 million contract, which they gave up RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly in the trade to get OG, so if he would have walked after half a season, Knicks fans will be on suicide watch. But he's almost up to 45 or 40% from 3, which he continues to improve every single year. And if he gets up to the 40% three-point range with his other scoring abilities and his defensive ability, he's going to be one of the best wings in the NBA, which is why he's being paid $213 million over the next 5 years. Mikal Bridges, as you can see here, last year in Brooklyn, put up 28 game with 4.5 rebounds and 3.6 assists. I don't know how his role will change and mold in New York, but he shot 44% from the field, 37% from 3, and was coming off of a season where he shot 40% from 3 the year he got traded. 2 years, $48 million left on his deal, and he eventually will need to be re-signed, but they gave up the house for him. An unprotected first-round pick in 2025, 27, 29, and 31, as well as some pick swaps and that Milwaukee pick that they threw in there that they got on draft night a few years ago. However, it's all worth it. They brought together one of the best wing defensive duos in the NBA, probably the best. Mikal at 6'6" with a 7'1" wingspan, and then OG at 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. And both of these guys have been very, very highly sought after trade deadline pieces over the last couple of years, and now they can successfully hide Jalen Brunson in that lineup, which is what we've talked about. Brunson, who stands at just 6'2" with a 6'4" wingspan, is not the best defender in the world. Positionally, he's not the worst, but he's a mismatch nightmare for the Knicks. Teams hunt him out constantly, but he's still the number one option on the offensive side of the ball, and when he gets going, he cannot be stopped. Love Jalen Brunson's game. One of my favorite players to watch this year in the playoffs. Haiti got hurt, but he averaged 29 points per game, 6.7 assists, 3.6 rebounds, and 1 steal this year in the NBA playoff, or in the NBA regular season. In the playoffs, he was putting up 40 every single night on a historical run. 48% from the field, 40% from 3 on 7 attempts, though, for Jalen Brunson, and he led the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in a very, very long time for the people of New York. And like I said, the kid can be unguardable. The man can be unguardable at times when he gets going in the playoffs. Let's take a quick break here. Make sure to like button, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying today's video at any point. We're trying to hit about 200 likes on today's video, so if you could help us hit that like goal, it'd be greatly appreciated. And as you can see here, a large majority of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if that is you, go ahead and switch that right now. We just hit 15K. Very, very grateful for that. But let's go ahead and continue on here with the rest of the video. Looking at the rest of the friend group. Okay, we've already talked about the two popular guys. Now let's talk about the guys behind the scenes. Donte DiVincenzo, 15.5 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and a steal per game this year. So underrated. I mean, guys that put up those kind of numbers should not be flying under the radar as much as they do, but he's getting swept under the rug. 40% from 3 on 9 attempts, as well as really good defense. Great stuff from Donte DiVincenzo last year. Very, very underrated piece to this New York Knicks team, but when JB went out in the playoffs, he was able to deliver some monster performances. I know I kept getting burnt by taking the under on him, but I guess I'm a casual when it comes to prize picks. And then you also have Josh Hart, averaging 9.4 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, 4.1 assists, and 1 steal per game. And there's like a 15-minute video of Josh Hart doing the little things to win basketball games from this season. Probably the greatest sub 6'4 rebounder of all time. It's crazy the amount of rebounds he can get. But I mean, Tibbs plays him 88 minutes a game, so a little bit easier when you're playing crazy minutes. Now the question becomes, what happens to Julius Randle? I like this lineup a lot with Brunson, with DiVincenzo, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, elite defense, Mitchell Robinson down low. I like that lineup a lot. Great chemistry, obviously. 3 of those guys played together in college. You bring Josh Hart off the bench. You could go big with Julius Randle at the 4. You got Bridges. You got OG Anunoby really making up for that size you lose with Jalen Brunson being out there. But people forget, Julius Randle before the injury was putting up 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists in 46 games played. However, he was not a part of the team that got hot towards the end of the season, went on to the Eastern Conference Finals. He shot 47% from the field and 31% from 3 this year on 5.3 3-point attempts per game. I don't know why he demands to shoot that many shots, but hey, you do you, Julius Randle. We'll see how they handle his contract. Now the draft, they bring in Tyler Kolek, who I love. We're going to skip over their first rounder because I think he's going to draft and stash. But Tyler Kolek, I love. If they wanted to include Deuce McBride in the McCall deal, Tyler Kolek can be your backup point guard from day one. And then Lance McCullers, a late round steal at like 56. I thought he was almost good enough to go in the first round. I thought he would be kind of on the border between the first and second round. They get him at like 56, 57, something like that. With this Mikal Bridges trade, this should implement a fire sale in Brooklyn. As you can see here, a large majority of their picks over the next few years are gone. Houston basically owns their future, so they got to get picks back somehow. Now they own New York's future. Keeping Claxton, but hopefully they can get something out of Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith. Maybe they can get something for Ben and Day'Ron Sharpe. But I know one thing for certain, and that is Cam Thomas is going to have a field day next year. All the shots he wants in the world. He's going to put up like 88 points per game on a 12-win Nets team. It's going to be historic. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button and hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point. Leave me a comment down below. And yeah, the Knicks might actually be good next year.